we're surrounded by your work from your new exhibition, Liminal, and I think it's a great place to start. You can tell the audience a little bit about the body of work.
The title Liminal comes, it comes from the Latin word limen, which means threshold. So you can cross over a threshold, you can move through it, and I feel like these paintings are moving through something, and they're very ambiguous, and they're in flux, and the way that the reflections and the figures mingle and morph is all about liminal. It's a liminal space. They're transitioning. Yeah.
And how did it come about? You know, sort of looking at this body of work compared to the last one.
Yeah.
There are some distinct changes within it. So maybe you could talk to that a bit.
The last show that I had here last May, it was all about more classic swimmers paired with a reflective landscape. And they spoke to each other, and I felt that was incredibly brave to make a painting that didn't have a figure in it, because I've been painting figures since art school, a long time ago. So this show has brought the reflected landscape together with the figure, and now they're mingling together.
And the color palette, you know, we've noticed there's a large majority of them greens and blues, but you do have a couple pieces that are just distinctly blue.
Yeah.
Was that a conscious choice, or?
No, isn't it nice though?
It's good. Nice,
yeah, I really like them. I tend, because I'm spending a lot of time near Georgian Bay lately, and so the reflections and the greens of the water are just there in front of me, that I tend towards greens. But these blues came out, and I really like them. So I'm happy that they're there. They just happened. It wasn't planned. A lot of my paintings aren't. I just try to work through things and kind of get out of my own way.
I think that's a nice segue into a bit of the process about the work itself. How does a painting start for you?
I do pretty random photographs using my iPhone. These are real swimmers. This is my daughter in all of these. And I literally just stand there with the iPhone up in the air, clicking as many photos as I can, trying to capture something. And then I go back to the studio with them, and I find the ones that I like, and I print them out into 3x5s, and I throw them on the floor of the studio, and I walk over them, and they get all mixed up and turned around, and the dog slides through them, and they and then I'll see something that really captures me. So that's how they start. And then from there, from the photo, I do a drawing. So they're pretty complicated drawings, especially this series. I do a drawing, and I put the photo away, and I start painting. I need some reference to start with.
Right.
So that's where the photos come in.
And is it freehand? You're not using a projector or anything of the sort?
No, this is just freehand. I think I'm actually a draftsperson. I think drawing is my thing, and then I'm putting paint on top of it.
Yeah. Well, what fascinates you about the illustrative quality of the work?
I don't know. I guess coming from art school, it was all about drawing the figure, and it was all about the figure, and that was really important to me. So I've just stuck with drawing. I love drawing. I love the immediacy of it. And there's nothing to, black and white, there's nothing to get in your way as far as color. Color is really hard, really hard. So
you make it look pretty easy.
Oh, yeah, well, there's a lot of push and pull, right? So, you put one color down, you think you've got a color, and then you put it beside something else, and it completely changes, 100%. So there's this push and pull, and these paintings are a pretty good size, and when I paint, I'm, 12 inches away from them, and they're really abstract up close. And then I get back, and they start to come together.
And you touched on a bit of your background. You're a fellow OCA alumni.
Yes, I am. Before OCA was a university, I went to OCAD.
Yes.
Yep. You too, right?
Yeah.
Kyle?
A little while ago.
Yeah, a little while ago.
Yeah, and I guess what was the most transformative about going to OCA? Like, why did you go What was sort of the
Oh,
driving
just
factor?
because that's what I was good at.
Yeah.
Art was the driving force. I didn't go into chemistry or math or anything because that's not my. Art was it. It's been it my whole life. So OCA was good. It was not a university. There was not a huge amount of direction. I fell into the fine art department where drawing really was it and the figure really was it. And I tried to, well, I've done the figure my entire career. That's a long time.
Yeah.
Trying to make it something that I'm seeing as a woman, painting women. I thought that was really important. And when I was at OCA, it was in the 70s. So it was pretty male dominated.
Yeah.
And I was pretty angry about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, my way of protesting is just to kind of quietly go in the back door and just make what I make and put it out there.
Do you still see these as a form of protest, or was that something that maybe, you know, you've kind of?
No, still, it is, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel I have the privilege to paint female figures because I'm a woman and I can do that. OCA was pretty divisive that way, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we could get really gossipy about this, but it was a man's world, and it was really hard to fit in as a woman.
Yeah.
Even though most of the students were women, it was kind of known that, you know, the guys would rise to the top.
Yeah.
And I am really lucky that I ended up at the Bau-Xi gallery, where they have always been even. There's half women, half men. There's never been a division.
Yeah.
I thank you, Bau-Xi.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're really happy to have you here, and
Yeah.
I think your work speaks to. What do you want your work to speak to the viewer? You know, when they sort of come in and experience it.
Yeah, peace. Like,
Yeah.
this is really important to me too, because we're just living in such crazy, turbulent times right now. But the other thing I do is I'm a full-time meditator. Not full-time, but I mean, I've been practicing.
You're a hobbyist.
I'm practicing, just like painting is a practice, meditation is practice. But I think these paintings allow people to come into that space of quietness and peace.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really the only way you can look at art anyways. You can't, you know, go to the AGO and pay your fee and see everything that's there. You got to go in, you got to find one piece that really speaks to you and sit with it. And it'll speak back to you.
Yeah.
And you will see in the art where you are at that time. So they're all figurative, but they're pretty anonymous. They're not portraits. They're portals. They're a place for people to come in.
Oh.
And that's pretty good, eh? Not
No, that's
portraits, portals.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's the title of your next show.
Yeah, there we go.
Portals.
That's it. But it's just, I really want people to be able to put themselves in this place. And swimmers automatically does that because most people swim.
But you.
Except me, yeah. So people look at them and they just are immediately triggered by a nice memory of a cottage or swimming or water. And then that releases a whole bunch of other happy emotions that then can go into the painting as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a big swimmer myself. My partner always jokes around how we'll be at the pool and I'll just be sort of, you know, lazing by the side.
Yeah,
but
lounging.
Yeah, I mean, looking at these works, you really do have that element of nostalgia. And does that play a big part in your work?
I think the water became a feature because it was some place for the figure to exist. In the past, I used to paint figures floating in darkness, and for a while they were on Persian carpets, but they were never grounded anywhere. They were always floating. And then I saw my daughter swimming in a lake, and I was like, oh, this is a good place for the figure to exist because it's abstract. And my paintings have no boundaries. Like, you can't tell there's like a seashore or anything. It just gives them a place to levitate and to float and to be without any gravity.
And do you think it was because you were photographing your daughter, it sort of flipped the switch for you in terms of how you looked at the work?
Well, I've had friends and family jump in cold lakes for me
Yeah.
for quite a while, but Beatrice is different because she's so much of me,
Yeah.
right? And really, realistically, the paintings are about me.
Yeah.
You can't help it. I don't think of my work as being very, being an autobiographical piece of art, but it's where I am at this time. And this summer I was kind of in between things. I was betwixt and between. I was neither here nor there. So that's all come out in the work. And until I see it, all artists need some distance from their work.
Yeah.
So until I see it hanging here, half of these works were at the studio I have in Collingwood, and half were in Toronto. So you brought them all here, and it was like the first time I could experience them all together.
Yeah, and what was that like?
Good. It was good. It was an eye-opener. I really understood, like Liminal, the name Liminal just kept coming back to me, and being in between. But it worked. They work, and they all speak to each other.
Mm-hmm.
It hangs well together.
I think it does.
Thanks to the curation.
Well, I mean, you know,
Yeah.
we're nothing without the artist.
Okay, this is a nice partnership.
And your titles. How do you get to the title of the work?
It's hard.
I know it's like maybe a bit of a classic question to ask an artist.
No, but it goes back to, like, if I could spend a year with these paintings, would I title them differently? Maybe. But the main title kind of leads to the smaller titles, the individual titles,
mm-hmm.
and those titles all speak to each other and kind of tell a little bit of a story. So they're all connected.
Yeah. And what was the most challenging aspect of, because you're working on a show for months.
Yeah.
Sort of back and forth, things in life happen, sort of maybe the studio is a place of respite for you. How do you overcome the challenges, maybe not necessarily of what's going on in your life, but the creative challenges that you're sort of working through? How do you deal with those?
Well, the studio is salvation, first of all.
Oh.
100%.
It's a big word.
Yeah, and it's true, because I can go in there and everything else falls away. And if it doesn't fall away, I can't paint. So that's my creative block, is not being able to quiet my mind enough for the work to come out. And that's happened in the past.
And how do you quiet your mind? I guess meditation is one.
Yes, but the paintings become meditation. You just have to let everything else go.
Yeah.
So there's not those voices, the little, monkey chatter in your brain.
Yeah.
And then the time is gone. When the kids were little, they'd come home from school and I'd look at them and like, why are you skipping school? And they were like, Mommy, it's 3:30. It's like, oh, okay. But time just flies. Like when you're in that space, you're there.
Yeah.
Yeah, and these were particularly difficult just because they're so complicated. Like technically, these are complicated paintings. I think they're probably the most complicated. There's a lot of push and pull and back and forth. Yeah, but they came out okay.
I think they came out amazingly. And is it like a linear process for you?
Nope.
No, okay.
100%
You were quick to answer
not.
that.
I couldn't even tell you where to start. We couldn't like go to the studio right now and I'd say, okay, this is what I do, and people have asked me, can you do a process video? No, you can't, because I don't get it either. It just literally happens. The drawing is the one thing that I can count on to say, okay, that's a process, it's a drawing.
Yeah.
But even that, it's like, you're constantly fiddling and moving, and there's a million lines under there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what are you particularly satisfied with this body of work? Sort of looking around it, having some time to reflect, seeing it all together.
Yep. Yeah, I am. Usually in a show, I find there's a couple of really strong pieces. This show just all seems really solid.
Yeah.
It really hit the point. There's only 10 paintings. Normally by this time of year, I've probably done 20. But just the life circumstances, I've got 10 paintings, but they're really good.
Yeah.
And that's really interesting. That it's a good thing you booked me for September, because May would have been a write-off.
So I guess that in itself is the satisfaction and the accomplishment, is that you were
Yeah.
able to pull it all together.
Yeah, pull it all together, and that they were, like I said, they were sort of salvation for everything else that was going on. To be able to step into the studio and let everything else go away. But I can't step into the studio unless I know I've got enough time for that to happen, for everything to disappear and to make a mess and to wipe it off and to keep going. Yeah.
And are you pretty regimented about, you spoke earlier about sort of losing yourself in it, and you obviously don't have to look after your kids every day and make them dinner and things like
Not
that.
anymore.
But do you sort of set yourself, okay, I'm going to start here, end here, or how does it work for you?
Yeah, there's usually I try to just clear my schedule and do some tasks. That's maybe my ritual. It's like, doing the laundry or stepping over the dog. My studio's at home, so I don't commute. So things like that kind of set me up, but I go in every day.
Yeah.
And you can't lose that thread, because as soon as you lose the thread, it's so hard to grab it again, to get back to that place. Like I've had a couple-week break here, and it'll be hard to go back and start, because I have no idea how these came about. It's a mystery. And I know that sounds really, airy-fairy, but it's not. It's like...
No, I think it's honest.
Honestly, yeah.
And so I know you just finished this, and so maybe asking you what's next is
What's next?
Yeah, is a bit much, but do things usually just happen, I guess, by accident?
Yep.
Or
This is not where I started out. I started this group of paintings the end of last year. And
which one was the first one?
Which one was the first one? I told you this already. Now I can't remember. The one, I know. It's the one by the desk. That's why. There's one by the desk.
Yeah.
That was the first one.
And this was the last one.
And this was the last one.
Yes, and this is also the title piece.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Did the title come at the end?
Yes.
Huh?
But there was this whole concept in my brain about it. They're in between. I didn't start out to do this year. This is just how it came out. And I love it. It's a good show.
What did you start out with?
I wanted softer, more monochromatic swimmers. There was a couple I did for the art fair last year. Yeah, that's where I had intended to keep going. But I think I'll carry on with this a little bit until it takes me somewhere else. It's a slow journey, but it will move me along.
Yeah, I think it is kind of amazing to see, talking about last show and then looking at this one, how things sort of coalesced.
Yeah.
And it'll be interesting to see if, maybe they sort of come apart again.
Yeah, it will. That last show with just the water, the reflections, was really interesting the way they spoke. I was so nervous because there was no figure in these paintings. But Kyle said, she's there. Her energy is there. The swimmer is there. She's just either just passed through or she's about to go through. And they spoke very nicely too, the actual swimmer, and they were hung very close together, so there was this conversation going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was because landscape is 50% of the work. The figures are the other 50. So I think it was fascinating, and I think very brave to sort of see you make that 100%.
It was very brave. Because if I'm not doing a figure, who am I?
Yeah.
I've been this person for a long time.
Yeah.
So.
It'll be interesting to see if that sort of comes back full circle and how that sort of changes.
Yeah, my number one supporter, that would be my husband. He purposefully requested just the landscape.
Oh, did he?
Yep.
Oh.
Yep. Took me about a year and a half to do it, but he eventually got it.
It was a bit of a challenge?
Yeah, because I was busy doing other things. He wasn't number one on my list.
Yeah. Eventually you got there, but
I did.
The idea sort of percolates in the background,
and
eventually you're sort of working one day and you're like, I have this. I understand it now.
Yeah.
And I think that's like this exhibition, you know, you sort of see images floating around on the ground, much like your swimmers.
Yeah, good one.
Oh. And then you sort of see how it comes together and like, oh, wow, what if I did that?
Yeah. You've been to the studio, Kyle's been to the studio enough that he sees all these photographs laying around.
Yeah.
And
Vicky's
I used
always,
to clean up before he came, and then I've stopped doing that. So now we just walk over top.
Yeah, and Vicky's just like, don't worry about it, just
yeah, just go step over that.
Like, okay.
Yeah.
But I guess before we sort of tie this up, I want to ask you a few sort of quick questions.
Okay.
Biggest influence?
Biggest influence?
Yeah, in the work, let's say.
Biggest influence as far as like outside influences, or well, it's all about
or artistic, or you know.
In meditation.
Yeah.
Number one, biggest influence, yes. And if that can come out in the work and speak to somebody that's looking at it, then yay, it's good. It's done its job.
How long have you been meditating for?
Oh, well, Beatrice is 30, so 30 years.
Oh, really?
Of a very regular practice, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How did you, if I may ask, how did you come to it in the first place?
Yoga.
Ah.
Yep. Yeah, Downward Dog here in Toronto. It used to be the only yoga studio where you'd go and you put your $5 in their little wooden box, and it was on Richmond Street. And I mean, the whole industry has exploded. But that was the first.
That was the first.
Yeah.
I've always thought about trying out meditation. I'm not really sure where to start.
Oh, well, you want to do one right now? We can. 2 minutes.
Well, I don't know if it would make for entertaining content for
everybody
viewers.
could do it for 2 minutes if you want.
Maybe at the end.
Okay.
Best piece of criticism you've ever received?
Any criticism.
Any?
Yeah, really, because I don't, until somebody tells me about the work, I don't understand what they're seeing. So, and you know, criticism can be good too, good things said, but having somebody feed back to me is awesome.
Yeah.
I also had, a long time ago, before I was with the Bau-Xi, so that's a long time ago, this very powerful businesswoman came into the studio.
Oh.
And I just spent my time showing her stuff and apologizing for it. And she sat back and she crossed her arms. She said, "You're not in business, are you?" And I was like, "Oh, business? This has nothing to do with business." But that was a bit of criticism that I held on to. And then in my times where the Bau-Xi would come, they would say, "Oh, you don't have a website." It's like, "Oh, I don't have a website. I guess that's part of business." And then I watched a video by this fellow named Paul Klein. You can still get it on YouTube. And he talks about the business of art. So you can't just be this la-di-da artist that, you know, if you build it, they will come and they'll sweep you away. You have to have some sense of where it's going and business sense. And so that was really, to bring that to my attention was really good.
Yeah, it's not something they teach you in art school.
No, they teach you nothing about business.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, but it's an important part of being an artist.
I think it's, integral to being an artist. And it's one of the most important parts about, you know, if you want to make it a career, it's...
Yes,
you know,
and it is a career.
Yeah, not everyone can show with a gallery, and so it's, you should understand some of the basics. Yeah,
the world's really changed too because of, you know, social media and the internet and online sales and all that jazz.
Yes.
So knowing more about business is even more important these days.
I think that, and that sort of leads me to the next question, is sort of what place, this is maybe a bigger question, but what place do you see art having in the world today?
A really important place.
Yeah?
Where would we be without art? Like, there's just vast history, first of all. And everybody needs a place to go. So when COVID hit, nobody could go out. You couldn't distract yourself. You couldn't go to a sports game. You couldn't go to the movies. You couldn't travel. But you could look at art.
Yeah.
And that was a very important time in the art world, in the gallery world, and people realized that they needed something.
Yeah, something creative, something expressive.
And something to feed back to them. So art's just a placeholder, and you can bring what you have to the piece of art, and it'll hold it for you until you figure it out.
Yeah.
And the best art is the kind that doesn't just hand you a story, because then it's over. Like, the best art is something that you can continually look at and see something new all the time.
And I think for my last question, that's nice that you brought that up. If there was, if you could have any piece of art in your home.
Oh dear, Kyle. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, if I could, there's been pieces that I wanted to steal. So, here at the Bau-Xi, Tom Burroughs.
Yeah.
They're so impressive. They're resin panels, and you can just walk right past them. But if you stand and look at them, there's so much in those panels. They're amazing. And it kind of reminds me of Ad Reinhardt, who was an abstract expressionist artist who painted everything, if you just looked at it, black. But if you could stand in front of his work for a minute and let your eyes adjust, there was so much happening in the black.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And Tom views his work as a portal as well.
Oh,
so I think that's very fitting that you are sort
Yay
of joining.
Yay.
Yay to you too.
Yay
Yeah.
to us. Yeah, it is.
But Vicki will be around afterwards to answer any questions that you may have. But I want to thank you.
Thank you.
For being here
thank
today.
you. Thank you all
Yeah.
for being here. This is a great turnout. Yay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.